This tutorial will describe how to use the saving and loading mechanism in Pena. Pena comes with a very sophisticated saving and loading mechanism. In fact, there are 4 independent saving and loading systems within Pena. Other tutorials have already discussed 3 of these 4. The 4th and most important that this tutorial describes is this lower left-hand icon on the control pane, the Load and Save folder icon. For completeness, let's look briefly at all the other saving and loading mechanisms before we go into the description of the master save load. The first saving and loading mechanism is in our brush pane, and this allows us to save and load our favorite brushes. And the only thing that's saved here are our brush shapes and sizes, rotation, offset, tapering information, and the clocks. Nothing else is saved, so this lets you create a palette of your favorite brushes. Likewise, in the effects pane, in the lower left-hand corner is another save and load mechanism. This lets you save and load your favorite brush effects, again allowing you to create a palette of brush effects that you use frequently. On the right-hand side of the effects pane in the lower right-hand corner, we also have a save and load icon for the surface effects, again giving you the ability to save favorite surface effects. As I said, those were already discussed in other tutorials. This tutorial will concentrate on the mother of all save load mechanisms in Pena, which is the save load icon in the lower left-hand corner of the control pane. Let's start by painting a little drawing. Let's paint a little smiley face. And we'll go ahead and save that. I tap this icon and I get the ability to save it, load a painting, or capture the painting to the photo album. We'll say Save Painting, and we'll give it a name. We'll call it Smile. And that's it. It's now been saved. If we want to load a painting, do the same thing. Hit Load Painting. And we could load, for example, tendrils. And we can see that not only do we get a different canvas, but we get a different brush. This was not our little gradient brush, and this brush is offsetting and rotating and doing all sorts of things. Again, we can come back and load painting and load our smile. And you'll notice that the smile was incorporated directly on top of the other painting. That's because we had only painted the eyes and the mouth. We didn't paint any of that black area around it. So that was essentially transparent, and therefore it was merged onto our existing painting. So if you don't want it merged with your existing painting like that, clear screen first, and then do your load. Now the same is not the case with tendrils. Because tendrils is painted over the entire surface, it replaces our smile. But our smile, since it was painted on a transparent background, is merged in when we do the load. Now you'll notice that when we load paintings, there's all sorts of options on the right, and the same thing is there when we save paintings. When we save a painting, we can specify exactly what we want to save. The painting data, which is all the brush information, the color palette, the settings on the control pane, such as depth and whether you're automatically copying to the drawing texture. You can also specify that the textures 1 through 5, that's what's ever loaded in the texture slots, get saved. And if you have photos in there, the photos are saved independently of your photo album. So if you were to remove that photo from your photo album, it will still be available to you, stored with your canvas. Your surface buffer is your intelligent canvas. Selection buffer is whatever you have created for your selection regions in the selection pane. Paste buffer is your copy and paste buffer from the selection pane. The drawing buffer is your drawing texture. And the undo buffer is whatever is most recently in your undo. And then finally you have your current painting, or actually your canvas. So you can see that we can actually specify exactly what we want to save. Likewise, in load, you will see a similar mechanism. Let's go ahead and load our tendrils painting. And again, you'll notice we loaded everything. And here we have our brush, which is certainly not our gradient brush. But we could now come in and say, load painting, and deselect everything in this list. You can either select it all very easily or deselect it all. And we only want to load the brushes, and we only want to load our brush program, nothing else. Now we see when we do this, we're going to load Smile. Nothing has changed on the screen except the fact that we're now painting with the brush that we had saved. There's no more twist, offset, and rotate, and it now has our brush program of the gradient. Likewise, I could go back, load painting, and tendrils, and just load the brushes again from tendrils. Nothing was replaced here, but now when we paint, we see that we are painting with our offset twisty brush from the tendril painting. So this gives you the ability to merge various aspects of other paintings. You might say, I really love the color palette I used in Smile. I want to use that in this painting. And just only turn on the color palette, turn everything else off, and load it. So this gives you infinite control over exactly what you load and you save. Now, you will maybe notice that in the save list, the very top choice was painting data and then our textures. And painting data is everything. It's the brushes, it's the color palette, it's what's set on the control pane. All that information is painting data. But when we went to load, you'll notice painting data wasn't a choice. Instead, we got brushes, clocks, color palette, and preferences before the noise. So when we load, we can actually take that painting data and load only subsets of that. If we only want to load our clocks, or only our color palette, or only what our preferences were, that can be done in the save and load. Also, both save and load has the ability to delete a file, and you can search for files, quick index on the right. The other capability within the saving and loading mechanism is the ability to capture painting to photo album. If you tap this, the painting will be saved, the control pane will not appear in that painting, and you can go to your photo album and find it. There's another mechanism also for saving, and that's a built-in mechanism that Apple provides with the iPad. The iPad has two physical buttons, the home button and the power button on the top. If you push both the home button and the power button simultaneously, the screen will flash, you'll hear a shutter sound, and the current screen will be saved to your photo album. This is useful because in that case, it allows you to capture not only the control panes, but any other panes that happen to be open. If you just want to capture your canvas, click the eye icon first, then do the home and power button simultaneously. You may find that the built-in Apple screen capture will give you better results than the screen capture choice in the load and save. It's up to you and what you find you like, but both mechanisms are available for you. And this ends this tutorial on the saving and loading mechanism in Pena.